The world of orchestration can be a vast and scary place to venture into, especially in the already ambiguous road towards composition and orchestration. So that's why I've compiled a list of my top 5 free orchestration resources and tools for composers. So whether you're a beginner or a seasoned orchestrator, hopefully one of these 5 will be able to help you in your journey to fantastic orchestration. First thing on our list today is Orchestration Online. This is one of the most vibrant communities in composition or orchestration in, I think, all of the internet. Ran by a Mr. Thomas Goss, he's been putting out information and knowledge for years on YouTube and on his blog at orchestrationonline.com. He presents information like a seasoned tenured professor at a university, and his depth and knowledge of orchestration really shines through in his thorough videos. There's also a Facebook group called Orchestration Online as well, which has over 25,000 members in the group. Questions are posted there all the time, and knowledgeable orchestrators from around the world jump in to help others with whatever questions they may have regarding composition and orchestration. Sometimes fights break out in the comments, but that's very few and far between, and Thomas Goss does a really good job of moderating the group regularly. He has real in-depth analyses of classical pieces that he breaks down orchestration-wise and teaches us as young orchestrators what we can learn from it. There are also the occasional orchestration challenges at Orchestration Online, which really get your mind going, so this is really worth checking out. Next up is another YouTuber you might have heard of. I'm talking about the myth, the legend, Rick Beato. I don't know why you would be watching this if you haven't even heard of the last two, but alas, here we are. Rick Beato is a phenomenal teacher, and he regularly puts out content for us to watch. He has videos on orchestration for beginners, which I'll link down below in the description. But not only that, composition techniques, ear training, theory, both basic and advanced, jazz theory, guitar, ear training. Did I say that already? And even delves into popular production techniques of modern music. There's so much variety over there at Everything Music, and Rick Beato posts almost daily, so it's worth checking out what he has going on over there if you haven't already. At number 3, we have Instrumentology. This is a fantastic site by the great folks over at Vienna Symphonic Library. If you're a MIDI composer, you've probably heard of these guys. They built a fantastic reference guide for individual instruments and how they work, and really in-depth knowledge about each of them. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's go over to our trusty web browser. Again, links in the description down below for links to each of these resources if you're interested in going and checking out any of them. So here I am on the site. Instrumentology is what they call it. Now, say I want to learn about the French horn. I go over here and I select brass. Brass is loaded up. I select horn in F, which is what the French horn is. Now here I see a brief description of the instrument, some secondary information, but if you look up here next to the picture of the horn, I can select different categories in what I want to learn about. So say I want to know about popular sound combinations for the French horn. So I select sound combinations. Not only can I look at sound combinations, but say, let's learn about a different instrument now. I go back to the beginning, Instrumentology. I select, say, percussion. I'm a percussionist. I know percussion instruments pretty well. Let's select marimba. Say I want to learn more about the marimba. Here's a little description. Again, I can check out different playing techniques, what sound production is like, and even learn about the history of each of these instruments, which I think is so important. Learning about the history of the instruments really well, I think, is just as important as knowing what the instruments sound like. There are audio excerpts on the side here, which are really handy. They're really popular. excerpts for each instrument so you can get to hear what it sounds like at its best. So again, this is a fantastic quick guide for learning extensively about all the instruments in the orchestra, and I highly recommend that you go through each one of them and get to know each instrument inside and out. Next, Debreved is a fun, informative blog by Tim Davies, who is a really well-known working orchestrator in Hollywood today, recently having orchestrated the Lego Movie 2 for Mark Mothersbaugh. He provides a unique insight into the world of orchestrating for film and gives practical, applicable knowledge thanks to his wonderful experience. His blogs are so full of information, and it's a godsend that he's putting all this out for free. So please go take advantage and read all of those blog posts. Again, I'll leave a link down below in the description so you can go check that out immediately. Finally on our list is IMSLP.org. If you've ever wanted to look at a score, you probably know of this site because it's one of the largest databases of music in the public domain. So there are tons of scores and parts that you can go and look up immediately from past master composers. Something I really enjoy doing is listening attentively to a piece of orchestral music that I find enjoyable or unique, or a piece of music where I'm trying to figure out how the composer or orchestrator achieved a certain sound in the ensemble. So I listen and I think, is that a clarinet and marimba in unison? Do I hear the flute brightening up a passage in the violins, though I can't hear the flute specifically? Perhaps it's a classic case of horn and cello playing a unison melody. Once I think I've heard it enough, I'll go onto IMSLP and I'll check, and I can look up the score for free on the world's most wonderful database of scores and parts, and see for myself how the master composers achieved a certain kind of sound and how I can steal that for my own writing. That's all I have for my top 5 resources. If you have any that you think I should check out, leave them in the comments down below. Let everyone else know what it is you're using. Obviously, I couldn't fit everything onto this top 5 list, but if you want to see a continuation of this video, then hit like to let me know. Also, if you're a fan of podcasts, check out my last video, which is all about the best podcasts to listen to if you're a composer. And if you're not into podcasts, you can get into them. And once again, if you want to see more content just like this, consider subscribing. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care.